a Christian before you got married, or
Yes, I was.
Okay. And she wants to know who baptized you.
Andy Dorrell, I believe. I'm not absolutely sure of that.
Okay. Dan, do you have your question?
Alright, how did you and Dean meet?
How did you and Granddaddy meet?
Well, we started the school together and went through 11 grades together, and we never paid any attention to each other. And while I was in my last year of high school, he asked me for a date, and I accepted it, and we went to a Sunday school party at the church. And from that time on, well, we saw each other occasionally. I never did think he liked me when I was going to school. He graduated a year before I did.
Will you tell us about your wedding? I know I've heard it, but tell us.
It was very simple. We walked into the church. Well, one of the ladies that played the piano at the church played the wedding march as we walked in. And Van Honest was with us, and Lou Graham, the one that played the piano, was there, and Helen Hines slipped in, was there, and we didn't know it.
She was the snooty lady that Grandpa talks about, wasn't she?
And he read the marriage vows, and that was it.
And were your parents there?
No.
So did you go on a honeymoon?
What?
Did you go on a honeymoon? Did you go on a honeymoon?
No, goodness no. We didn't have money to go anywhere. I don't know why we got married then. We didn't have anything to go on. We just had to live on love.
You guys got any other questions? Because that's all I have for right now. I got some people working on their questions and they're supposed to get back to me, but you guys can keep asking her questions. Kagan, you got any other questions? No? Dan? Okay, go ahead.
When did you get your first car? What type was it?
When did you get your first car and what type was it?
It was, well, he had a Whippet when we were married, and then we got a, what did we get? '32 Chevy, used one. And we used it till it played out. We wore it out. Then we got a '47 Chevy. It was used, but didn't have any miles on it hardly. And then from there on, we bought new cars. We drove that old Chevy till we was afraid to take our kids anywhere, afraid it'd play out on us. We'd leave them at Dean's uncle's. And in the cold weather, when we got ready to go somewhere, we had to get the team out and pull it, get it started.
So, well, I have a couple questions. Can you tell me, what was it like, without going into a lot of detail, what was it like having your kids at home? I mean, like delivering babies at home.
Well, it wasn't good, but we had to make the most of it. We didn't have any hospitals around close then. The doctor came to the house and stayed. When Karen was born, he came early and laid down on the divan and went to sleep, I think, waiting. And then when Richard was born, well, they was just about ready to go to the hospital with me.
But the doctor came?
He was born then, and I didn't have to go.
So the doctor, would the doctor come to the house every time when you were sick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
He'd be in, we'd call him, he'd be here in about 15 minutes.
Wow. How much did you have to pay him? Do you remember?
$50 for Karen, I think, and $75 for Richard.
So if he just came out, if you were sick, was it $50?
Well, no, it varied. I really don't remember how, I couldn't guess how close it was, but it wasn't too much. They even rode a horse out to see people.
So after you had Mom and Richard, can you tell us like what your day was like? Like you'd get up and what did you do first?
We got up and had breakfast, and then most of the time, then we went to the barn to milk. Dean and I done the milking though. The kids could, they'd milked enough they could, but Richard would get out and do the feeding, and Karen would do the cooking, stay at the house and do the dishes. So we didn't ask them to help milk. Sometimes they did though, and one time we was caught at Richmond with some wheat, couldn't get it unloaded. When we got home, they'd milked the cows, dry ones and all.
Well, that was a big help, wasn't it?
We had a milker by that time though, they didn't have to do it by hand.
So can you tell us the story about when Granddaddy got shot?
Oh, it was a common thing for him to have a shivaree when somebody got married then.
Well, can you tell us what a chivalry is?
Well, it'd be a bunch of people get together and they'd have guns and tin cans and everything they could make a noise with. And they'd come to your house and keep on making the noise till you showed up. But we didn't show up. We got out on the roof of a building that was just under the window. We could get out the window and get on it. We got up there and they finally found us. And then you had to treat the people that come. You bought candy and cigars and treated them. And the night that he got shot, there was 3 couples that had just got married. And we were going to chivalry all of them the same night. And we went to Headley's, our neighbor, first. And there's a couple of guys ahead of us in the car, and he jumped out and went down. The house was kind of lower than the road, and he put a gun against the house and shot it, and it didn't have it. They didn't usually use shot. They put something in them. I don't know what. And but he had it loaded, and there's 20-some shots went through the windshield or through the top of the old car. It was an old Model T, and there was a boy just had stepped off of the running board just before they went off. They shot it off, or they'd have killed him, sure. And so Faye and I was close to home, and we went home. And the rest of them went on, I think, and chivalried the other 2 couples, but we didn't go. His head bled like everything. He had a cousin there was a nurse, and she took care of his head. Faye went and got to the door and I asked him to give her a pan of water. And she washed him up and got him all fixed up.
So
But he had to go later and have the shot picked out.
Goodness. So were you scared?
Huh?
Were you scared when that happened? Were you scared when that happened?
Well, I wasn't.
Oh, you
Yes, I was scared.
Yeah.
Yeah, we was all scared.
Mm-hmm. Because you didn't know how bad it was, or.
We didn't know what it had done,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't. He said it was just like a big ball hit him in the head,
Mm-hmm.
but it just kind of went under the skin.
Mm-hmm.
And after he didn't have it took care of for a little while,
Mm-hmm.
and after a while it got sore,
Mm-hmm.
and he went and had it picked out then.
Now, can you tell us the story about when you came down the hill with the team?
Come downhill
You
with,
came down the hill with the team of horses?
oh, that was kind of simple. I shouldn't have asked the job. We've been picking corn up on the hill and had a part of a load of corn, and Dean had some disking up there he wanted to do. And I said, well, if you want to disc a while, why, I can take this corn down the hill. And it was a big hill, and got down about halfway, just about the steepest part of it, and the neck yoke broke. And they started on down the hill, just the tongue just a swinging. Well, I got them at the bank first, and one of the horses wouldn't stand, so they went on anyway. And I jumped out. I wasn't going to ride that all the way down the hill. I jumped out, and I didn't light on my feet. So I had a pretty black spot for a while. And they come on down the hill, and the wagon went into a big deep ditch, and the horses just made a right turn and went over the tongue. I don't know how they done it, but they stripped their harness off nearly. And all they had left, I think, was their collar and maybe a bridle.
So, how many accidents have you had on the farm?
I couldn't name them all. I know I've got good bones, or I would have had all of them broke. No, I guess the worst thing that happened to me was when I got my knee cut with a chainsaw, and that was my fault too. I was trying to push a tree over so it wouldn't fall in a brush pile. We couldn't trim it up. He got this tree ready to fall and jerked his saw back, and I was too close, and it got me. So we had to go and have that sewed up, and it was on Christmas Eve.
Oh my gosh.
having the Christmas program at the church. And Dean said, well, we better go on home. And I said, no, we can go to of course, my knee was still numb then, and before we left, we sat on the back seat, so we had to get out, and before we left, it was really hurting, so we had to get out and come on home, but I got along all right. Got it sewed up, and it was fine then.
In all of your years, as far as world issues, you know, the state of the United States, what was the most difficult time, do you think, that you can remember?
When I was a child?
Any time that you were aware of world issues or the state of the United States, you know, the economy, political issues, just social. When was the...
Ask me the question again.
Well, you know how, like, right now, you know, there's some troubles going on in the United States. From what you can remember, when was the most troublesome time for you that you can remember?
Really, I didn't have any trouble sometimes as I was growing up. You didn't have to lock your doors. You didn't have to worry about anybody bothering you. And we had good neighbors. We neighbored with. And I don't know whether there's anything else.
Was there any, like, the Depression or World War II or anything like that? Did that bother you or make you feel?
I thought about it, and I thought it was bad, but I didn't have any family in it till Raymond had to go to well, he went to He went across and